All right. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Paul Tranny here. Gonna dive into today's masterclass, which this is, I mean, if there's ever a session where it's just straight up masterclass, like sort of like for the pros, then I think this is it. So I'm excited about this. Hopefully you are as well. Michelle just posted my favorite message, which I love to see, which is an all clear. So we are good to go. And yeah, as you can see below, hopefully you're joining me out there on the interwebs on behance.net/Adobe Live. And yeah, we'll get this party started. Everyone. Hey, Zach, what's up, man? I see you over there on LinkedIn. Fantastic, man. Hey, Zach. Awesome. Cool to see you, man. So this will be fun. Okay, let's do this. Marsha, happy Friday to you as well. Eve, want to welcome you. Kellen, Frank, Hamza, missing you as well. This will be good. Cody Bear, Jeff's in the house. So if everybody's here, we could go ahead and begin. I got like so much to talk about. I got like so many files open. It's a little ridiculous. So, but this is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to this. And hopefully you are as well. So let's just kind of switch gears. And again, I'm actually already using some lovely shortcuts, but we're going to work with a number of files and mainly working in Photoshop. I'm going to share a link at the end of this. Hopefully that works for you, Robert and Bruce, Marsha, of all my overlooked, like all the things that I consider like kind of like pro tips, overlooked features, things I'm like, man, I didn't know about that. You know, as a professional, I didn't know about that. So that's what I'm going for, but I also want to hear your own as well. So if you have any. So yeah, I will share the list of, gosh, I don't know, there's probably like 50 things here that I will share. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Welcome everybody if you're joining me out there on Twitter as well. So here's my screen. Let's switch over. Shabam. First thing I want to talk about are like, sort of like, you know, again, this, if you watch this whole thing, it's going to be like all the pro tips, like everything is going to make you faster and just going to be like, oh yeah, I wish I knew that. Like this case, we're like, okay, I have this like pattern poster PSD. Sometimes I open files and I don't know where they're at on my desktop, right? So I typically want to find out like, where the heck did I put that? I'm like, okay, is it in my current projects folder? You know, I'll go out there, I'll go to my desktop, I'll go like right here. Is it in here? Where the heck is it? Guess what? Just right click and you can go ahead and reveal in Finder where that file is. Bam, there it is. Okay, it's in my patterns folder, way deep. Like, why does it have to be that deep? Clear in here, right? Okay, not a big deal. Okay, so there it is. Right, I found that. Let's just pretend like this one is closed. So let's not worry about saving it. And let's open this up again. So I'm going to hold down. So this is a file, by the way. Let's just pretend. For the most part, I have huge files with so many layers, it takes forever to open. And I just want to look at it and maybe output a JPEG or something like that. Well, if you hold down, as you can see right here, Shift, Option, and then I just usually right click, actually just double click. Shift and Option, double click, and what it asks you is to read this as composite data instead. So basically it says it doesn't take a half an hour to open a huge PSD. It just opens it as a flattened file. Okay, so that's awesome. I just wanted to see the darn file. I know I have huge files that are just such a pain to open that I really like that. Also know, we worked on this the other day, or I could take any number of these files, but you can always label something a PSDT. And that means when you open it and you try to save it, like I'll just turn some things on in here and I'll just go to save. It's going to bring up save as. So PSDT means template. So it's never going to overwrite your original file. And all you have to do is add a T at the end. Cool. Easy enough. This one's nice. I still need to finish this project. Is that okay? I still need to finish it. I have so many tips. This is crazy. So a lot of times I want to close without saving. there's chances are you're probably going to have to make an action for it. If you guys know a faster way, but mine is just F5. So I want to close this without saving it. Whatever the case may be, I just hit F5 and I make an action for it. Okay. You like the slow life? I know, Sean. Guess what? You guys don't have any more excuses because you have to. Now you're not going to have any more like wasted time like with files. So can you do that with a PC? You can. When I say Option key, it's going to mean the Alt key. But try it out. Shift Option or Shift Alt on a PC and you can open up the template file, stuff like that. All right. So here's another thing I do a lot of times. Let's talk about kind of managing all of our files, because I usually have a lot of files open like this, right? And I usually set up shortcuts. And shortcuts, of course, everybody's going to talk about those. I usually do this arrange where I tile and then I consolidate. So I have shortcuts for those, and those help me out a lot because then I can jump out and say, hey, tile, boom, consolidate, bam, tile, jump to this file, consolidate. Just shortcuts, makes it easy, especially when you're doing lots of like composites with like lots of files. Another thing you can do, check this out. If you hold down the space bar, we know the space bar will pan files around, but if you hold down the space bar and the shift, I can pan around multiple files at once. So if you're trying to compare two images, you could just hold down that shift key and pan around all of those images. Ooh, that's good. Fury use F1 to convert layers to smart objects. Very, that is the very best, like, the very best shortcut, or my most used shortcut. So thank you for bringing that up. That is good. All right, another thing you could do, if you zoom in, let's do this. You know, zoom in using shortcuts. You could pan around. You could do H for the hand key. If you use H, you get to zoom out. H, I can go up to the head, zoom in on the head. Okay, so the H is the hand tool. Zoom out, go down here to this hand, quite literally since I'm using hand. So this is just a quick way to navigate around your file. It allows you to bounce out and focus on a different area and work. I'm just holding down the H key and then moving my mouse. I'm going to share all these with you, so not to worry. Can you save a set of shortcuts for different projects? You can. So if you go to Edit, down to Keyboard Shortcuts, right in here, these are, let's even see. So mine's called Photoshop Default Modified, right? So right in here, you would actually have a new set based on the current set of shortcuts. So click right there. This is where you'd have like something else, like not the copy, but this would be like for compositing, right? And that's what you'd have. You'd have your compositing shortcuts and then your other shortcuts. So that's how you toggle between the two. All right. Okay, so you could, yeah, if you have some cashola, you could have a separate little hardware device to control some of these, you know, to control some shortcuts, which is a great idea. Okay, so I usually bounce around. I like, bam, I'm working on all this stuff. A lot of times when I do compositing is I'll have like all these images, okay, and I'm like, okay, I'll open them all up, and maybe not this one. That's an Illustrator file. Like I'll have all these files and I'll open them all up in Photoshop. This is how I used to do things. I would take these, I would open them, and now I would like drag this over, and I would take this one file, like I'd take this layer and drag it over there, because I'm creating a composite with like 50 animals, right? That's too much work. And you know what? Laziness is the mother of invention, wouldn't you say? So what I want to do is I want to load those all into one wonderful stack. So do that right now. File, scripts. Right over here, load files into stack. Okay, so this is what I use out of the scripts menu, is I load files all into one. In here I could actually locate a folder. So let's browse to that wonderful folder right here. It's called landscapes. So that's the folder. Click open, right? And then you could actually automatically align. You can create a smart object after each layer if you want to. I just click OK. Cool thing about this is it keeps the names of the layers right here, right? So I have the name of the file as the layer, so I could always reference it again. Okay, so this is cool. Let's talk about naming layers. I know this is a lot. I'm throwing a lot at you guys, but I think this is really powerful. Like, you ever have this situation like, okay, I have so many landscapes, right? Like, look at this. Maybe you hate this. You're like, I hate this. You'll double click and you'll do landscape, right? You're like, okay, that's one landscape. If you just hit the tab key while you have a layer selected, bam, goes to the next one. And I just usually do a copy paste and maybe not hit V, but Command V. But I just do a copy paste on down the line. There might be, and this is where I might need your help, Bruce, and some of you pros out there, Fury. You know, aside from using some third-party program, how you can change the names of multiple layers at once. Okay. So there you go. So again, just so you know, just select that, and then the tab key will kind of go on down. Right? Once you select one, guess what? You want to navigate this up and down. It's going to be Shift, Command. Yeah, let's do this. I know this is going to be hard to see or not, but let's say, for instance, bam, shortcut. Shrink it down. Yeah, just destroy that. There we go. So I have this image. I can hold down the Command key and control the depth, right? Using Command and then open and closing bracket. You want to bring something clear to the bottom? Hold down the Shift key, open bracket. Shift key, close bracket. And that's how you navigate, you know, around layers if you're curious about shortcuts. Okay, I'm bored already. So yeah, tab key on layer is going to be huge. Yeah, exactly, Fury. Yeah, tab key back in the day. Tab, boom, boom. Yeah, to hide all your panels. Your panels are not really hidden, by the way, because if you roll over the sides, the edges, they'll pop out. So tab key will hide your panels, and then you can also make them pop out as you roll over them. You could hit the F key, and that's going to give you these different views. F, F, F. You guys get the idea. Okay, you probably already know that, right? Okay, what other fun ones do I have? So many things. I have so many more. Like if I wanted this to be at like 30% opacity, just hit 3. And now it's at 30% opacity. 6, 60, 90, 10. You want 100, hit 0. So you control the opacity using keys. There's no script to change layer names. Jeff, that's a question that I have for everybody else. Is if there's a script out there, I'm sure there is some sort of script that will allow you to select multiple layers and rename them something else. So thanks for joining me, everybody. I see you out there on YouTube, and I'm glad you're here. Killy, I see you as well on Facebook. Thank you, Hitsanu, Hitsanshu, Muriel, cool, Gioti, awesome. Let's get into some more stuff, shall we? Let's get into yeah, let's close this. I don't even need this. Let's work on a more fun image. I like this one. Okay, so you ready for this, Kellen and Jan? I show this a lot because, again, this is super valuable to me. Guess what? I can't tell what the heck these layers are. Like, what the heck is this? There's something somewhere there. It's called layer 13. Good job, Paul. I have no idea what you're talking about. Right? Layer, I don't know what that is. Right? Well, we want to be able to customize the layers panel. Click right here, flyout menu, go down, 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 down to the panel options. Open up the panel options and let's watch this change together. We're going to change this from entire document. No, change it to just layer bounds. And you know what? I do not expand new effects. So if you apply a drop shadow to something, just tuck it under and get out of my way. I already applied you. Don't mess with my layers panel. Also, don't add a copy. Every time I'm duplicating flowers, don't add copy to it, right? I just don't need it, right? Turn those off. I have layer bounds turned on. We'll click OK. Oh, thank you very much. This is a burst. This is probably nothing, actually. And then here's this moon, and then there's some other stuff. Okay, so change that to object bounds. Okay. You guys ready for some more shortcuts? I hope this isn't boring to you. This is powerful is what this is. It's like, okay, well, where the heck are these like sparkles? Or is there anything on layer 10, for instance? Or what is layer 11? You could turn off everything but the current layer by holding down the option key. Click. Oh, that's where that yellow mess is. Click again. Boom. Okay, that's what that is. Oh, interesting. In fact, this is what I do. Option click on the layer and it'll zoom to that content. So we could bounce around, zooming on this different layer content. Let's twirl this down some. I got some bones in here. Oh yeah, let's zoom in on these different bones. Bones, where's the hand? Boom, oh, it's that hand. I'm just holding down the option key or the alt key and I'm bouncing around. Okay. All right, Michelle, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Because again, this stuff like helps me a lot, right? Because again, this is old school. We used to do this, right? We'll do Command 0. I used to hold down the option key and click, and that's one way of finding things. But you could actually just zoom directly to the object by clicking on the actual layer. Okay, so yes, Photoshop has endless options, right? We're talking about hidden features or overlooked features, basically. We could talk about all your different, stretch this out, your different presets. So here's all my fun presets. As you guys know, I use gradients a lot. Load up all your gradients with your like legacy gradients, because there's some good stuff in here, right? So here's all my legacy gradients and then my new one. So I put everything very visible. I did not like how they group things by red, green, blue. Guess what? I don't read English when I'm designing. I don't read period when I'm designing. I want to sort visually, and that's why I dumped everything in one area. I've had this issue. I don't know if anybody else has had this issue when it comes to syncing your presets. Sometimes I get this backup, and I think it's just from the beta versions. But this is what my gradients panel looks like. My swatches panel. Let's get rid of those. Let's take a look at my brushes. There's all my wonderful brushes. Shapes. Let's get rid of those. Does anybody else have that issue? The copied tip. I don't know what you mean by, I'm sorry. I don't remember. So this is a case where, guess what? I have all of these shapes. And what did I do? It's all these legacy shapes that I've thrown in here, right? So anyways, you want to like, you know, crank up Photoshop to 11, as they say, for all of these various presets, right? So then you could just jump in. You're like, click, 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 jump around, do all of that, right? If I always want this to be a burst or a radial gradient, guess what? You can change it to radial gradient. Now it's always going to be radial gradient as I click, right? So let's go into the preferences, and right in here, this is what's happening. Sync your presets. Okay. Oh yeah, Jeff. Shapes. I use those. I use these all the time. I use the shapes for like really basic shapes, to be honest with you. I'll come in here and I'm always using these. You know, we have this checkerboard. Sometimes I see people making like a checkerboard, say in Illustrator. I've been there myself, but again, it's already baked into Photoshop and all your basic icons that you know and love. Okay. Okay. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. Cool. Let's actually play with this a little bit more because I have this, right? I want to add more to it. Okay, I'm thinking about adding some vector, and this is fairly new, but we revamped these vector tools. So I can come in here and say, you know what, I want to add a triangle. Well, do I really want to add a triangle? If you click, you can see that you're going to have different options for a triangle. So equilateral from center, let's just click OK. And you'll see in my properties panel, I get these settings. So whether I want to create it in the beginning or control it later on, like round the corners and increase the size. Am I even moving it? Yeah, I'm moving it. Let's scale it up. But here's the triangle, right? And again, just changing the stroke. You get the idea. So you're going to have this for all of your various objects. Look, let's get rid of the triangle. Triangle's kind of boring. I think what's cool is the polygon, right? So polygon tool, drag that out. Yes, there's our lovely 5 sides. Over here, yeah, we want it to be like, again, 22 sides. And you know what? We don't want it to be a star. We want to make it like a badge. And maybe that doesn't look good. Maybe I want to take it down. I want to give it 12 points, right, for the 12 months, like so. And then again, controlling the depth of that as well. So I'm just kind of having some fun with the capabilities of the different shape tools thanks to the properties panel, right? So there it is. We can get extreme, by the way. We can make this a cool burst. Like, let's take this all the way down to the center. Bam! Right? Give it some more bursts like so. And there we have it. Oops, let's not do that. Holding down the shift and option key. And now we have that burst. And we'll make sure we put this behind. And again, I can hold down that command key and kind of move it down. Moving it beneath everything. Right? Or moving it clearer to the bottom by hitting the shift key. Bam. Let's close that up. But there's that, that like burst that I'm currently working on. Let's say I want to select that polygon, right? I want to select that burst, right? And you'll sort through all these layers, right? You'll be like, okay, where is it? Is it over here? Is it over here? Some people will right click and they're like, okay, which one is it? Chances are you're going to know it's the polygon, but what I do is I will hold down the command key, will turn on auto select. So regardless of where I'm working, right? I'm moving around, I'm doing stuff. I need to find this. Command click. And it will actually select these these adjustment layers. So you might need to lock those down. You ready for this? What I would do is I'd say, hey, you know what? Let's just show the, let's just show right in here, filter for pixel layers. Right, that's one way to sort. So let's do that. I'm going to click filter for pixel layers. Here are all my pixel-based layers. Or here are my pixel-based layers and our shape layers. Okay, so I'm eliminating the adjustment layers because I just don't want to mess with them because they could just get in the way. You know, I don't even want to see them. Just give me the elements that I'm working on, which is usually these. Okay, now again, I can come in. Okay, apparently that one's like really hard to select. But as I yeah, so anyways. That was fun. Good job, Paul. Can turn all those off. with that toggle. But you guys get the idea. Okay, just navigating files. All right. So again, we've gone through these situations. We can go through text. So typically when you click, you'll see this lorem ipsum. Hey, if you want to keep the lorem ipsum, check this. You can commit text just by clicking off. Boop, click off. You do have to do that a certain distance away. So if I go in here and I'll just say, you know, Venus, right? If you notice, I like clicking here doesn't do anything. So you do have to get about what, you know, about sort of 5 times. You have to click a little bit away just so it knows. But that's how you can commit and you can continue working. So you move this into place, right? You could double click. You can say Virgo, right? Click off, just like that. Roll through the different text. Let's get something cool. Or not. You guys are like lame. Okay. Let's move this to the top. There we go. You always commit text on accident. That's interesting. Cody, I always forget that you can just click off of it because I'm all too often like selecting the text tool and then selecting the move tool when all I need to do, if I would just remember, so I don't need to switch to the text tool to select this text, just double click on it. Right, there it is. Right, we can change this. We're gonna change this to my favorite font. What is it? You guessed it, Lust. Oh yeah. Let's go in here, guess what? We'll select this alternate. Oh yeah. Right, because this has some alternate glyphs, alternate flourishes, which makes this look like a lot of fun, right? Can get kind of annoying if you're not used to it, but again, yeah. Cool, there we go, Virgo. Sweet, looks good. Here's another thing people will do. We'll do a click and drag. This is gonna give us our paragraph text with the text tool. If it gets really messy like this, you could always reset your type back to the default. And hold on, wait for it, people. Reset character. There we go. There we go. I just had to reset character. I wish there was a shorter way to do that, but resetting that, again, there we have that text. You can switch from astronomy. Now that I've typed this in, or astrology. Right, you notice how this is area text, and then there's point text. So you can toggle between those two. So go up to type right up here at the top. Convert to point text. I think this is interesting because this is one of the few menu items. The name actually changes based on what you have selected. So convert to point text. Bop. There it is, and astrology is now, as you can see, it is point text. It doesn't have that huge box around it. Okay, and then we can change it back. Guess what? Convert to paragraph text, right? And we switch it back and forth. All too often I see people delete text and then they'll draw out a box and paste it in. That's fine if it's fast for you. What's also fast is just making a shortcut, right? Control Option Command, I just made a custom shortcut and I'm actually toggling from paragraph to point text. We know that is happening because right over here, you know it's point text because it's not gonna have these paragraph options. So my shortcut is like changing, point text, paragraph text, point graph text, paragraph text. All right, enough about text. So boring. Text is boring. Yes, Tim, you know, you're an expert, man. This is for you. I want to hear your pro tips, by the way. Would love to hear them. Like, seriously. Because I've watched your streams, man. I remember seeing your stream a couple months ago, and I was like, those are some good tips. I was thoroughly impressed. Which other ones shall we do? Let's do some of this stuff. Let's jump in here. Let's do this. Again, I think this is kind of good. Like, I get it. Ugly, whatever. You know, I apparently was not sleeping at all. I would desaturate this using the sponge tool. Let's not worry about that. Let's focus on the eyes. Because we could go ahead and use, say, for instance, the healing brush tool or the spot healing brush tool. It doesn't really matter. What I want to point out, and again, we could use a healing brush just to kind of heal some of these areas. Oop. Sorry, let's go to spot healing brush tool. Right, we can kind of fix some of these areas. Boom, boom, boom. You know, whatever. Cleaning up things. These dark circles have an issue, right? We'll try to do that and it'll kind of work, right? But really, I want to just kind of remove the dark circles without kind of removing the wrinkles. Oh, actually, it's already set to lighten. Shame on me. But this is what I usually do. I usually use the spot healing brush and I change the blend mode. So go, do darken and lighten. So lighten was what I was doing. So right in here, it's actually lightening up that area. So let's go back in. Let's change this to darken. Right? It keeps the dark areas. So all you need to know is if you want to lighten up an area, change this to lighten, and it will typically keep the... it'll just lighten up the area but keep the shape. That's all. Enough of that. Yeah. Yeah, Paulception. It's weird. What else was I going to talk about with this? I was going to try this. You ready? Here's a feature. When I say overlooked features, this is a feature that I have not used in ages. And what's really bothering me is this. I really do have to select desaturate. Let's just desaturate the redness in my eyes. Help me. Let's switch this to dodge, right? Exposure, 50%, sure. Oh, hello. Let's take this down a little bit. Just a little brighter. There we go, that's a little better. All right, that's fixed. Okay, let's do this. I have this image, and I don't even know what's gonna happen here. Honestly, I have no idea. If you do a Command T, because I want to transform this and I want to scale it down. Command T, Command 0 will zoom out so you can see this whole image. Oh, I don't have to zoom out all some crazy man. I could literally just jump out to the actual size of the image I want to transform and then scale it down. Okay, so this is going to be new color image of a lady. There we go. Right? Let's delete that one. So let's just see what happens here. I want to see what happens if I want to steal the colors from this image and apply it to mine. And so we're just going to see what happens here. Okay, so this will be kind of fun. Here's my original. We'll go to image adjustments. And here's the thing. You ready for this, Sean? You probably know all this. Right down here, we usually focus on these adjustment layers. Okay, so this is what, as pros, this is what we use all the time. But this isn't everything you can do to an image. There's some additional ones right up here. If you go to image adjustments, and then there's all of these down here. So you have HDR toning, shadows, highlights. Shadows, highlights might be over there. But right in here, match color, replace color, equalize, desaturate. I want to match color. So let's see what happens when I go to match color. And in this case, what I want to do is I want to match. The source is going to be this PSD, and it's going to be new colored image of a lady, which is, this is crazy one right here, right? So I'm going to match those colors for my photo, and you could see it already applies it, and then we can start to adjust the intensity and the luminance right? And just steal those colors ultimately. If we fade it, it's kind of blends it back with the original. Okay. Neutralize should usually try to keep the skin tones, but you know, again, just trying that out, and we can see the results are negligible at best. But again, I'm pushing it to its extremes just for fun, huh? Boom, there it is. Okay. Yeah, that's like okay. You want your easy button in Photoshop? This is honestly what I would do is I would go in, I'd use camera raw filter. I'd go in here, I would hit auto, I would change the clarity. I would take the clarity down a touch and texture, right? And this is what I used to do, like kind of soften all those tones, right? And change the temperature, whatever, right? Here we have an entirely different look. That looks better and kind of matches more this photo. But here's this new look. What did I just do, Jan? I just tried to clean up my horrible skin. Paul, wear sunblock, right? Well, guess what? Right in here. And this is a new feature, so this isn't like a hidden or overlooked feature. It's a new feature. We'll go to neural filters, because what's in neural filters is off to the side. We keep adding to it, by the way. Yeah, you're right, Jan. The blue color is missing. Shame on Photoshop. But right in here, skin smoothing. Turn that on, right? It'll go through. Ooh, geez. It says, hey, you better clean up your library. But it's smoothing my skin, and I can sort of take down the blur, take up the smoothness. But it does that process for me, and it just focuses on the face. So there you have it. Sunburn, baby. Ooh, look what it did. This is fascinating. Look. This is what these neural filters did, is it smoothed out these areas. So we have our before and then our after. Just adds that softness. How fascinating. I usually make that a smart object, but this time I output it on a new layer. So, okay, let's move on to some other cool things, huh? You guys are tired of it. You're just like, you're over it. Do you guys want to do curves and auto toning? Is there a Botox filter? Yeah, it's probably called Liquify. That's the one you need. Yeah, so matching colors, I didn't do the best example of it, but it is pretty awesome. Okay, so again, this was super easy. Let's do some more color matching while we're here. Okay, so let's take this, right? And let's decide that we want something else in this scene. Like, I don't know, I'm thinking of a good example. I'm trying to think of a good example. I'm going to do this with two separate images. So let's take this, let's open it up. Let's grab something else. In this case, we'll do animals or nature. These images might be too similar, so let's just, again, let's just try it. There's this guy. Oh, there's this eagle. Maybe. I don't know, these images are too similar. I'm trying to find something that's just even more different. So let's go from day to night. Here we go. Oh yeah. Let's take this awesome whale. Again, might be too similar still. Or this bird. I'm sorry, everybody, I'm being a little indecisive, but I'm trying to find some images that are vastly different. So, all right, let's take these. Let's rasterize them. Remove background. Bam. Clean it up. You know the deal. Curves, clip it, click on the curve right there, and notice how this guy is a little too bright. And let's just see what happens. Option, click on auto, and then this is where we find our dark and light colors. So find our shadows. The reason it's turning white is because I don't have the curves selected. I have the curves mask selected. So cancel out of that, click right there, and then option click on auto. Now we can click on the shadows, which again are going to be nice blue. Midtone's going to be like right there. Sort of a green. Highlights. At best, there's this green color too, like that. So what we just did is we matched the shadows, midtones, and highlights to the background. Okay? That doesn't seem to do much for this image. And more importantly, it changed all of these curves correctly, so I don't have to worry about sort of dialing that in correctly. Okay, that's all. How are we doing on time? What's up, everybody? G. Hussein, I see you out there on YouTube. Arham as well. Hello. And if you're joining me on Twitter, I'm thankful you're here as well. Okay, so let's take this. And let's take something else. Get rid of that one. Let's grab this. Check this out. Like, let's say we decide to change this to, you know, your typical sort of whale in the sky. Remove background. Bam. It did it. Right, I saved those settings, by the way. So now when I go back in and use curves, right, I saved those settings. When I click auto, it'll automatically apply those settings to this whale in this case, right? Command J. New feature, sky replacement. Let's do that. Oh, that looks good. That's kind of cool. Let's maybe go with it. All right, there we go. That has more depth. Click OK. Done. All right. Okay, let me show you this really fast. We have our object selection tool. And in this case, I'm going to select the mountains. So we could use object selection, click and drag that marquee around it, and it's going to select it. It's a big image. Whale in the sky keeps on turning. I love it, Sean. Apply layer mask. There we are. Look at how big that whale is. That's crazy. He's just doing his thing. Why not? Fisharooskies. Ahmed, hello there from Iraq. Awesome. So there's times when this like rectangle, like this will work out pretty well. We'll use the object selection tool to come in here and like grab a fish. Right, we'll try to grab this fish. Marquee tool. Bam. There it is. Copy, paste. Right, and there's our fish. But keep in mind, you could also, I usually have this lasso tool selected. So lasso tool, because some of these aren't a perfect square. So if I try to grab this little guy, yeah, this is where our lasso tool is going to come in handy. Just like so. Copy, paste, and there's that little guy. And we can clean him up all day long. All right. How's everybody doing this fine day? You guys doing well? Where are my fishies? Where's this fish? There it is. Look at these massive fish. I kind of like this idea. Keyboard shortcut, keyboard shortcut. Take these down, bring them down there. Guess what? I want to apply the same curves to all of those different fish and underwater animals. Command G, they're in a group. Curves, apply the curves to all the fish and all the fish in the sea and some other stuff. Something like that. Where are they? Oop, there they are. There you are, buddy. There you are. So we've just applied everything to these. Command click, move that over. And again, I'll adjust the size later. Clarissa's doing very well. I'm doing great again. I was complaining about my darn calf muscle. I pulled a muscle in my calf and I desperately want to go running today. And so I'm a little heartbroken about it. I'm signed up to go running and that's all I want to do. All right. Massive fish and small whale. I'm kind of digging the size for all these, but you get the idea. Okay. What else we got on my long list? Which I'm going to share with you right now. Okay, I'm going to share this list so you guys have waited long enough. Here is the... Here we go. Here's the list I've been pulling from, just so you know. I didn't talk about iPad. iPad has tons of features. I needed to get into sort of like what you can do with cloud documents. There's a version history with cloud documents, which is awesome. On down the line. Shapes, types, pattern preview, I'll do that. Yeah, all this stuff you guys should hopefully know. But I don't know, there's probably about... I don't know. Maybe about 30 things here. But I'll try to paste that into chat if you don't mind. It's going to get... There's version history. Oh. Cannot paste more than 200 characters. Oh, so sorry. Sorry, everyone. But I want to get this to you. There you are. Boom, boom, boom. Shabow. Done. Let's move on. Oh no, Ryan, I just read your comment, man. I'm so sorry to hear, man. That was no fun. Darn it. Let's do pattern preview really fast, because I used to think this was like an okay feature, and then it became like one of my most favorite features. So let's do that right now. We'll go back out to where the heck was that pattern preview? Guess what? It was in here. I'm sorry to hear that, Ryan. Darn, you're such a good guy, man. That sucks. Let's just call it what it is. That sucks. You know, it reminds me, it's like everybody's going through something, so just be kind to everyone. It's gonna help you out. So, yeah. So here we have this situation where I want to jazz this up with a pattern. So here's just a file that has a bunch of flowers in it, right? I can jump in here, holding that command key. I can like move those around, all that good stuff. Right, but I want to use pattern preview. So if you go to view right down here, pattern preview. This is super cool. Again, I didn't use this when it first came out. I'm like, whatever. I use Illustrator. But again, here I've created this, and I'll zoom out. This is the pattern that it makes. And you can see that it's very much a pattern. It's like repeating. This is not working for me. There's gaps. Like, look at this space. That's not going to work. So guess what? Command click, locate that flower, move it up here. These leaves down here, let's take that, let's move it over, right? Let's like space things out a little better in this situation, as you can tell. So we're making more of a cohesive pattern. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this shape right? Which is that sort of like that branch. And I will just use the direct selection tool. No, actually I'm going to use the curvature tool. Curvature tool will just like click, click, click. There we go. Just making this nice, smooth, continuous line, which is pretty awesome. Again, I think it's pretty cool. From there, you could just do a like select all. You don't even need to do a select all. I thought you had to, but you don't. Guess what? Right in here, define pattern. Bam. These will be flowers for my friends, right? Call it whatever you want, and then go to wherever you want to apply it. So that's going to be in your pattern panel right down here at the bottom. This is the one I just made. Flowers for my friends. Flowers for you guys. Flowers for Ryan. Because you know what, Ryan? You're having a rough day. I get it. You have full reason to be upset. And then also good reason to prove them wrong and show them why you are the better pick for the job, right? Because it's hard to, you know, talent can't be ignored, really. So boom, there it is, applied. Double click. Take this down to maybe 80%, right? Maybe we want to rotate it, right? And adjust accordingly, just rotating that. And again, I thought that was pretty cool. That's all. All right, cool. Got this done. Let me show you one other thing, something that I use absolutely all the time. There's here we go. There you go. Flowers for Ryan. There you go, Ryan. Ryan's having a tough day. There you go, my friend. Boom. We can take this. We want to output this. I don't know what this lady is doing in here, by the way. She has nothing to do with... As soon as I get a picture of you, Ryan, I'll put you right in here. But this is something I do all the time, too, is generating assets. And that's how I create all these events and graphics for this show. So let's do that right now. Let's go to Adobe Live. Let's go to, say, backgrounds. Let's open up this background PSD. This is awesome, by the way. Wait for it. Boom, here we are. So this is what I do with some files. Like when I need to generate a bunch of assets, I'll come in here and I have my Lightroom app icon. What do? I just name it .png, right? And I can do JPEG, GIF. I can change the size, so there can be another one. Lightroom PNG 50%, and then the Lightroom 2.png, and this one will be like ×2. I hope that works. I don't even know. Let's do 200%. Let's see what happens. Right, so that's what we're doing. We're just like naming all these layers, and that's what I've done. I named all these layers. We can see like these different backgrounds, right? We have lower thirds, all that fun stuff. So all you need to do is go to Generate Image Assets, right? I can turn that off. They'll all disappear if I turn that off, but then I can turn them back on. Image Assets, Generate Image Assets. Again, I don't know if it's an overlooked feature or not, but it's something that I use a lot of. And here's all the images that get generated, right? So let's look for our Lightroom. There's Lightroom 2 PNG, and then our original. So this Lightroom 2 is twice the size. So that's what I've done. So you get the idea. So again, that's how I would make a lot of these graphics, and now you know as well. So yeah, hopefully you guys learned something. I want to learn something from you as well, because I know we have as whale, get it? As well, because I know there's lots of smart people here, so I want to hear your pro tips. Hit me up on all the social medias, would be really appreciated. And yeah, I just appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Yeah, I guess that's about it. Thank you so much. I think this is worth a rewatch, bookmark it, whatever you want to do would be cool. And thank you from joining me from Ukraine. It looks like we have some people from Iraq. I don't know how, but that happens, and I'm happy you're here. So thanks so much, everybody. We got Jason, the one and only Jason Levine, up next, talking a little audio and video, which I'm sure it will be good. So have a great day, Rick, Steve, Clarissa, Michelle, all these wonderful people here. Appreciate you guys. Maybe I'll get to see you someday in person. Wouldn't that be a thing? That's what we need. We need to have an Adobe Live tour or something. Would be a lot of fun. All right, everybody, take care. I'll leave you in Jason's fun and capable hands. Thanks so much for watching. And yeah, we'll see you guys soon. Thanks for joining me. See ya.